I know that when we're having this conversation, we're talking about mental health and how do you become resilient? How are you resilient in the face of it, given it all? I think a lot of times we forget that we do have powerful sort of tools in our arsenal to cope with anxiety, with depression. And that's why I wanted James to come, because there is, in Pittsburgh especially, there is an abundance of the natural world. And I know, touching grass is what Griffin called it. And I think that a lot of times we talk about being outside and being in nature as like an antidote. And a lot of people sort of glaze over and think, oh, wow. But listen, I want to remind just a couple of facts. Forest bathing, which is when you just go out into nature, right? It has been in Japan and South Korea a standard preventative medical practice. And when I say medicine, I want to talk about phytoncide, which is a chemical that evergreens secrete, which is known to strengthen the human immune system. In fact, in one study, researchers were able to demonstrate that cells exposed to phytoncides increased anti-cancer proteins. Researchers have also found that animals exposed to natural soils increase cognitive performance, are less anxious, and produce more serotonin. Researchers have also demonstrated, fascinatingly, that horticulture programs can help improve motivation, grief processing, depressive thoughts, anxiety, sleep, self-esteem, stress reduction. In fact, a 12-week horticulture program with clinically depressed patients produced statistically relevant results, reducing those symptoms, and they remain reduced at a 3-month follow-up, meaning that these results are on par with cognitive behavioral therapy and medication. So, wow, that's pretty powerful. And there are a lot of trees in Pittsburgh. And that's why I wanted you to be here, James. I wanted you to talk a little bit about the opportunities that exist and about your own perspective. Can you kick it off and just tell me a little bit about the work that you do?
The research is just so clear. It's overwhelming. It's abundant about the benefits. I often do it by the alphabet because you can say it lowers anxiety, it lowers blood pressure, lowers cortisol, but raises concentration and creativity, addresses depression, builds empathy and self-esteem. And so you can literally go down the alphabet and think about all the impacts. And you all know it because, how many people, you're working at your desk and you say, I need to go get some fresh air. Or, it's a sunny day and you get outside and you feel the rays of the sunlight on your face. We know it through our own experience and through the research. And so we just have to get kids outside more often. We see it every day at the Frick Environmental Center. We host school groups from K to 12 throughout the school year. And we do all sorts of different types of practices that range from addressing, or supporting mental health. We really think about joy and happiness as, we do simple things that kids are supposed to be doing outside, like throwing leaves up in the air in the middle of the fall season. We do a practice called sit spots, which literally just means finding a nice spot in nature and just sitting. And then you invite yourself to do whatever feels good. You can count the ants that are crawling up the tree. You can sing a song. You can rustle the leaves. You can feel the breeze. And we invite fourth graders in our fourth grade program to do that. And we watch these really high energetic, sometimes rambunctious kids. They do their sit spots. And then we gather them up to talk about their sit spots. And they all start whispering to each other. And they're listening to each other. And they're curious. What did you do at your sit spot? Well, I did this at my sit spot. And so we just see nature at work. Nature has the answers. We see it over and over again from the little ones in the fourth grade all the way up to high school students who get to do all those social connection and all that, all the things that teens need in terms of adolescence, in terms of, social interplay with friends, but they get to do it in a space where they get to do, risk taking and, whether you're climbing a tree or walking across a log, you're doing movement, you're doing mindfulness, in addition to doing all of the things that teens want to do in terms of hanging out. And a lot of our work with teens is just about just learning how to be yourself, but be yourself in nature. So it's not about changing you or saying you now need to be a naturalist. You have to be this way in nature. It's be yourself, but be yourself in nature. And so we see it every day. We're lucky to see those impacts and benefits to mental well-being in the work that we do.